Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be going through our next to last batch of Collins White Circle paperbacks. So these are the more miscellaneous series. It's not going to be that long a video, not as long as some of the Collins ones that we've had to do. And that will just leave then the Westerns to do, which we'll do in a couple of weeks' time, there or thereabouts. Anyway, without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so we're starting off with 4 Hodder and Stoughton vintage services editions. Now, I think they did about 12 of these, something like that. I've got 4. This is by far the worst condition one. There's virtually no spine on it at all. And it's a little bit tight to be read. Looks like it's been repaired at some point. It's really hanging together by a thread, this one. So I need to get it into like a comic bag, a paperback bag. I just wanted to check the date on this. September 45. So these were all published towards the end of the war. That one is 1945. This one, a bit more of a familiar name, Eric Ambler. Epitaph for a Spy. That one's not too bad. That's fairly intact one. We can have a look at the back a little bit clearer there. For circulation to the fighting forces of the Allied nations. I do really love these, and I'd love to get more services editions. The ones I'm missing anyway. This one's 1944, I just spotted. But really all we can do with these, apart from brush the top edges, is stick them in a bag just so they don't disintegrate and fall into even more disrepair. This one, Max Brand, well, he's a Western writer, isn't he? So this is Riders of the Plains. That would sort of tie in, wouldn't it? That's very cool. That's really nice. September 1944. That's pretty good, isn't it? And then this last one is The Midship Maid by Ian Hay. Once again, I recognise the name, but I don't know the title. And he's got this uniform jacket on them. And then I've got one other services edition. This is before we get to the White Circles. This is Hammond and Company. And I think, although there's about 4 listed on the services checklist, there's only this one and one other which seem to turn up. So this is another services one from this particular publisher who I know nothing about. I don't know who these people were. There's been no marks in any of these at all. This is one I actually got off eBay. 1946 in this edition of the Pink Umbrella. So there you go. Well, look, all we're going to do with those is give them a very gentle brush. That's literally all these need. There was no writing inside, no pencil marks or anything. So we'll just give the edges a brush. And they're not even that dusty, although it's always the top edge, of course. These look a little bit dustier. And yeah, I think all of those can have the treatment of being bagged up because they are, very scarce. As you know, with services editions. Now, we're on to some White Circles. Now, this is a White Circle news book. Now, these news books are a bit like a Penguin special. And I do have some doubles of these. I've ended up with doubles, in fact, even triples of some of them. So I want to get the best condition copies, record them with the printing dates as we go along. So this is one that I've evidently cleaned beforehand. And it's bagged up. Now we've got that same issue with the tape, haven't we? Where the tape seems to just, even though it's Magi tape, it doesn't untape itself very well. It just breaks. Which is really rubbish, isn't it? That is really rubbish. So I'll get my tape dispenser here. I'm going to have some serious rethinks about that, but let's have a look. So this is the one that was bagged up. So this is N number 1. I guess that stands for news book. And let's have a look through this one. The cover's actually got a full-on crease down it. 1940. And this is the one I got recently. This one looks more worn than my other copy. I would imagine these, it's actually creased as well. I would imagine all of these only had the one printing. Also 1940. Yeah, that's actually got like a name inside, which I think I'm going to try and I'm going to try and remove that. Oh, it's coming out really easily. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. There we are. There we are. So I think the one I'm going to keep is definitely my original one, N number 1, and that is actually going to be just as a double. But I'll give it the brush while we're here. Some of these I'll do as we go along, depends on how we get on. Very, very dusty. But I've got a pile of spare white circles now, which I'll be putting in a future sales video. I've got one coming up which is going to be my spare penguins from 1000 to 2000. That'll be over on my main channel, and it'll be going out around the time that this video goes out. So if you're interested in getting some classic penguin action, then you will have the opportunity. But that's number N1. Now what I am going to do, I have got a little catalogue to White Circle. It's very, very old, but the information I think is accurate, and I'm just going to have a little look to see if the N series is even listed in here. They are listed, yeah. So N1 and N2 are what they call news books. Then they've got 3, 4, 5 and 6, which are focus books. 5 and 6, we've got all 6, so there we go. So that's pretty good. That's a good start. Now this next one then, for some reason, and don't ask me why or even how, but I've ended up with 3 copies of it. Look at this, The Voice of the Nazi. How mad is that? So, well, we'll have a look through, see which one I'm going to keep in my own collection. This one seems to have really nice white pages. So what is this actually about? Being 8 broadcast talks given between December 39 and May 1940. What, talks by Hitler's speeches? Listening to Herr Hitler. How Dr. Goebbels does it. This is really far right stuff, this. The Nazis used propaganda as a weapon, but if you understand it and you see why it's done and how it's done, then it cannot harm you. Huh. Well, I'm amazed this got published, really, because he was the enemy. So when was this published? 1940. Well, that's quite controversial, isn't it, that one? Quite controversial. I mean, Hitler's speeches, I mean, blimey O'Reilly. I can't believe this was published in 1940. I guess there were obviously Nazi sympathisers in the UK, so maybe it was aimed at that market, but was there that many of them that it would warrant a book? I mean, I don't know. But I've ended up with 3 copies of it. I only want to keep one, and I think that very first one we looked at was the best. Let's give them the brush. Well, that is probably the most controversial book in my collection. I do have a biography of Hitler, which is brilliant, very, very interesting. But wow. So yeah, I'll keep that nice copy there. It's very, very white. And I shall pop that one over there. All right, the next one we've got here is We Fight for the Future. So those were news books. It says this is a focus book, but it is also N number 3, a book for Britons. Okay, so this is a bit of a departure from the last one. This says second impression, October 1940. Okay. And we got another copy of it. This one looks better. And that is a first printing, 1940. So this is a better condition one, and it's a first print. So this will be the one that I keep. In the old collection, still can't quite get over the Adolf Hitler book. I mean, flipping heck. Controversial. Controversy on the channel. Don't want that, do we? There we are. Right. I think this was, although it's got a slightly darker spine, this was the first printing. And yeah, so that's the one I'm going to keep. And that one is the spare. Right, next one we've got is N number 5. Yeah, General de Gaulle, the hope of France. The man who stands for France. There he is. Very tall he was as well, wasn't he? De Gaulle. Right, this is, yeah, N4. Okay, ooh, right. A spine is needed to be replaced there. Reglued, rather. This is a very brittle copy. Look at the colour of the pages. They're like a cup of tea, aren't they? 1941. This one appears to be much better condition. Although, once again, look at that. So it's obviously the glue that was used on N number 4 is not that good. But this is the better of the two copies, 1941. So we'll take out the 10p that's in there. Right, that's that one out of there. Now, both of these are going to need gluing. Now, I haven't used the glue for a while. In fact, that one there, it just looks dusty as anything. Like even on the jacket. It quite literally has been through the wars, that one. That's a bit better, to be honest. It was just dusty. But yeah, so both of these need re-gluing. Yeah, that is the more supple one of the two, definitely. This one, yeah, it's much more aged, isn't it? So we'll put that to one side. We'll do the better one first. Right, now the thing is, I've not used this glue, well, since we last did a repair video. So I might need to cut here until it starts flowing freely. Well, it flowed straight away, so there we are, we were lucky. That's good news, no cutting required. There we are. That looks good to me. There we are. Give it a good press down. Yeah, I think that's got that one as good as we're going to get it. Now we need to do the same with this other one here, which isn't in such great shape, but at the same time, you know, it is all there. It's just this old glue has just dried up. The book is extremely aged, extremely aged. But that's okay. We have the technology, don't we? As you can see, we can rebuild it. Another squidge of glue going out. I don't expect we've got lots of repair work to do, but you never know. I didn't know that these needed repairing until I literally opened them up. So we'll just have to take it as it comes, really. Just hope it resets quite nicely there. It's pretty good, this glue, I've got to say. The spout thing, where it dries up, not so good. But the overall glue is not bad at all. So I'm not complaining. There we are. I'm going to give these two. They're even, look, one of them's even been trimmed. That is just the nature of books that came out during the war. They're often, even though this is the same printing of the book, they're just often not uniform. It's just how it went. There we are. Now the only thing I'm not sure, did we check the dates on these? So that's the one I'm going to put in my spares pile. This is the one I'm going to keep. 1941. Okay. So that was N4. Now N5, I've just got this one copy here, Foundations of Victory. This is a bit thicker than the other ones. Focus your outlook. How to win the war. Once again, very, very rough sort of printing of this wartime one. This is a second printing from May 1941. So I shall bear that in mind. It's got a little 2 and 6 in there. So we get that out. The spine isn't all that great down the bottom here. Let me get my screwdriver here. So I'm tempted to just to do a little bit of a repair on this. So initially we're going to get some in there, I think. So I need to rest it up against there. Okay, I'm just going to tease a bit of the glue underneath a couple of bits here, squeeze it around a little bit. Okay, like a lot of paper from this period, it's multi-layered, so we've just got to get one like little bit on and then fold that bit down. Now we need to do another little bit. Fold that bit down. Now that bit in there. It's a bit longer. Tiny bit at the top here. There we are. Then over this other side here. Almost done. There we are. So that is re-glued as Well, it's much better than it was, wasn't it? We've sort of saved that little bit of bottom of spine there. And a little bit on the front cover here as well to do. There we are. I don't think we've done too bad a job there. We've saved that one from getting any worse. So yeah, end number 5, second print, May 41. So another one that's a reprint. For whatever reason, it evidently must have sold all right. And that's the only one, so that's the one I have to save. And then N6, I've got 3 copies of again. The Pilot Walked Home. This is my original one in a bag, and it seems quite bright, but it looks like it's got a printing defect, so we'll take a look. So this is my original one. Yes, slightly misprint. One of the pages is slightly not in properly, which has caused it to crease up and that, but it's quite bright paper. (1946). This one's the same, look. It's got that printing defect. Funny, isn't it? It's evidently probably exactly the same page. Funny when you see it like that, you see a common mistake that's happened at the printers, and it's just a reflection of the time that these books were being published. 1946 again. And a third copy, this one hasn't got the printing defect, but is in a much worse condition, which is typical. And also 1946, so 3 copies of exactly the same book, all in varying degrees of condition. And the one without the printing defect is actually the worst one of the 3. You know, generally, it's the worst of the 3. So, another thing you notice, look, 3 books the same, one of them slightly higher. It's just a reflection of the time. It really was. There we are. So, which one do I keep? That one's definitely the brightest of them all. So, it's probably going to be that one. It does look brighter than the other 2. Even with the bit along the top. So, yeah, I think that's the one for now I'm going to keep. And these other 2 can go into spares, and I'll rebag this one since it came in a bag. But yeah, quite an interesting series that, I would think. So that's it for those. There were 6 of those, and that's all 6 in the series. So we got the whole lot. I mean, I've got no idea how scarce they are. I'm clueless on that. Now we've got a few of the cerise colour ones. Now these are the series that I never actually got round to collecting. Numbers started at number 201. So Lady Incognito, this is actually number 203. And I've just got a small batch of these. When I say small, I mean literally like about 5. And they've already all been cleaned. So this is really just for my own reference. So Lady Incognito then, so this is White Circle 203 in the Thriller series. And I believe this is a first print. Yeah, 7th print in December 1936. All those previous printings would, of course, have been the hardback of this one. So let's get this back into its little bag. Because yeah, when I edit these videos, I'm also compiling my own bibliography with dates and stuff, so it really does make a difference. Whose body? So, what number is this? I shall refer to my catalogue here. Wild West. That's crime still. Collins Mystery. Yes, so it's Dorothy Sayers. And it's Whose Body? So this is number 210. There we are. So that's good. And it says it should be October 37. So if it's a first, it should say October 37. I've no idea. It's one I've had for a long time. This is the only series I've not got very many of in all the White Circles is this series. Just says 1937, so we'll assume that that's correct. It's funny that, like Dorothy Sayers, they considered as a thriller writer, but a lot of people would have just considered her like a classic crime writer, so a bit of an odd one, that. Then we've got this one, which must have come to me fairly recently. This is numbered 321M, M being M for mystery. Whispers in the Dark. And this may not have anything on, for all I know. Yep, so no dates on that at all. But when we recently went through the Collins crime one, we did find that loads of them don't have dates, do they? Just sort of stopped. And then this is 331. So it was 321. This is 331M. And this one has also been bagged. So this must have been one I had for a while. Lawrence Maynell. I want Cadbury's, that's what it said. Okay. No date. And a pretty ropey old copy, that one as well. But, yeah. Since I've only got a handful of these, I don't want to throw any of them away. And that one's absolutely fine. I might, bound to come across another one of these days. So that's the Cerise ones. And now we start another series again. Number 600. So what is this series? See, we're learning as we go here, I think it's a non-fiction series. So there's the 500s. 600s. Southwest Scott, there we are. So Collins White Circle non-fiction, 600 to 602. Okay. Well, this is definitely number 600. Yeah, I've only got the one copy of it. Southwest Scott, so is that Scott of the Antarctic, I suppose? Very cool. Yeah, that volume 600. There can't be that many of these, that have survived. No date on it at all. In my guidebook, it says August 1939, but I don't know how they actually get that date since the book itself is not dated. So whether they had access to something I do not. But I'm going to put mine as undated on the actual copy. Oh, it was very, very dusty. That's why we're doing these as we go along. Yeah, apart from that, that's okay. It's a good subject. Yes, that was all right. Then 602, it occurs to me. The famous series of broadcast talks by Lord Elton. Never heard of him. This is in a dust wrapper as well. So we take the dust wrapper off. This is, look, they say these are special White Circle books. They're definitely special to me. This is a nice tight copy of this one, actually. 20p, if you insist, Governor. There we are. So, I wonder any sort of details on this one. Got a tiny, incredibly annoying page turned over there. There we are. That was getting on my ADHD. Not that I've got ADHD, but you know what I mean. My nerves, undated. And according to my guide here, It Occurs to Me was published in August 1939 as well. So we'll slip it back into its dust wrapper. And I think that is actually actually, before I put it back in the dust wrapper, I'm going to give the edges, the top edges, absolutely chatty. So, you know, it is almost hot enough to do this outside today. It's nice and sunny, but it's unbelievably noisy. I mean, I'd love to do these outside. We will go on location at some point, I promise. And I do feel that these particular books are so dusty. That's much better. Are so dusty. I sort of wish I was doing this outside now. But it's a bit late now to be setting it up. But it's on the agenda. We'll do it on a nice sunny afternoon with a nice beer. How would that sound? That'd be pretty good, I think. All right, this next one I've got a double of as well. Bedrock Principles of Golf. This is the last 600, I believe. This is 602. And this says also, it says July 1939. This copy is also in a dust wrapper. So we'll take that off. I have got another copy of it here, which isn't in a dust wrapper and looks slightly more worn. So I think this is the better of the two. But there's quite a bit of pencil inside here, so we're going to get that out first of all. Golf is a pretty good subject, you know. It's books on golfing, old books on golf, a bit like old books on cricket, are actually quite sought after and collectible. I've no idea if this is a collectible book. I mean, it is just a paperback, but it's a wartime paperback, and I don't know, or just pre-war actually this would be. This wouldn't actually be wartime. This is actually pre-war when people, I guess, were still not completely tied up with the war yet. I might offer my spare copy to my brother-in-law. He's a keen golfer. I'm not sure if he still goes every week, but he goes a lot. Right. And we didn't quite get it all off. There's a little bit left. Go quite gentle with these because the paper is not the best quality. So you can't be too aggressive. Right, let's have a look through. It's got some photos. Look at this. This is a bit lavish for a Collins, isn't it? A photo insert. You can tell this hasn't been opened in quite literally decades, can't you? Look at that. Mad, eh? I like his hat. It's another page that's almost stuck together. Look at that. Well, it is what it is. It's a rare, oh, there's a bit of underlining there. It's a rare survivor. And this is still a much better copy than the other one we've got to look at. Is it dated though? The guide said July 37, so we'll believe that. So let's give this one a brush. It's a really nice book, that. That is a scarce paperback, I reckon. That would be my guess. incredibly dusty. Blow the dust away. That's better, isn't it? Right, let's pop him back in his jacket. I think that's actually a really tasty little book. That I think that could be quite a nice little one. If I could find a copy that I'd sold, I reckon that had probably gone for maybe best part of £25, something like that. That particular one in a dust wrapper like that. As I said, golf is a very, very collectible little subject. Right, now we have another copy, not quite as good. It's no dust wrapper. Pages aren't stuck together like my other one. There's no underlining, but there is a bit of pen. It's slightly coming away. So we'll put some glue down the spine there to give it a little repair job. So it's only a little bit coming away, but it does warrant going in. And now this is where we've not used it for 10 minutes, so the blimmin' end of the glue is squeezed up. Go on. Yeah, I'm going to need my kebab stick to go in the top here. Right, hopefully that's released the glue. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, it just sort of goes hard, even though I like clean the top with my finger and that. It just sort of goes hard and then you can't get any more out, which is rather annoying, as you can imagine. Right, let's put that in. There we are. I think we've done a pretty good rescue job there. But that is a double, so we'll pop that over there, clean off the end of the glue again. So that was all the non-fiction, and now we've got yet another series. These are the 500s. So this was the first in the Forsyth saga. Now these particular ones, I've got a few of these and they've already all been cleaned, and I am confident, I haven't got any doubles, I'm confident that they were all the first printings. So if we go into the entry here for 500, it was Collins White Circle Novels 500 to 522. And they are not in quite order by the look of it. So those ones there, actually those, they are like a separate series. Yeah, those are the 300 series. So Romance and Goldsworthy is what they're called. So Manor Property is the first one, 301. In Chancery is 302. To Let was 303. It does say these are unnumbered, 303. 304 is something completely different. Let's just put these in order. The Goldsworthys. The White Monkey is 310. Silver Spoon is 311. 311, Silver Spoon. And Swan Song is 312. Now they've all already been done, and we'll assume that they're the correct printings. So have we got any more in the 300 range here? with what we've got left. Have we got any more? Because a lot of these don't seem to be, they don't seem to have any number on them at all. No, I think the next series we've got, they're all in the 500s. So we'll put those to there. So that, I'm not going to bother going through and taking them out of the jackets because they were all done at the time. I'm confident they only had the one printing, of which those are first prints. And I'll just make a little note that Silver Spoon is one that I would need to upgrade. But the rest of them are all absolutely fine. And I'm not, in all honesty, too worried about having those. But I'll make a little note of the ones that I'm actually missing. So that would mean that this one here, number, I'm guessing this is 501, a Yank at Oxford. No, it's not. So that, yeah, I thought that was the first one, but in actual fact, that one there, Shabby Tiger, that is actually number 500. Yeah, and it says 500, although it's a bit beaten up. This is a really fallen to bits copy. So that's 500. So let's put them in order. That's 501, Going Abroad. Sally Lunt, 502. Nurse Cavell, yeah, okay. Looks like we got them in order. It was just this odd one here was out of position. Lion Has Wings. Yep, Gas War, that would be private. Okay. That must be over there somewhere. So we got the first load anyway. So let's start with this one then, which is, yeah, Shabby Tiger. This is July 1939, apparently. But it's in a right old state. Look at it. It's hammered. I mean, I don't want to get rid of it because it's my only copy, but at the same time, it is absolutely fallen to bits. Oh, there we go, 500. It's absolutely fallen to bits. November 39. So definitely on the upgrade list. Upgrade. You never know. I might come across another one. But this is absolutely, ordinarily, I wouldn't even keep a book that's in this awful condition. But because I just don't know when I'm going to be able to get another one of these. I can't imagine it's expensive though. It's not like it's a really well-known author or anything like that. But it is awful condition. Right, let's re-glue it, shall we? I think that'll just make it look a little bit more presentable. But it is absolutely grim, this, and it will be, you know, if I find a better copy, I won't even try and pass this off to anybody else. It'll be one for the charity shop, and they'll probably just bin it anyway. There we are. Whether we got enough purchase there, hopefully. Enough to stick it down. Bit more on the ends here. Yes, quite a piece, this one. Do the end at this end as well. Shabby Tiger, shabby book. That's what it should be. Yeah, getting quite near the end of this glue. I've got a brand new one in the wings, because we've been doing a lot of repair work recently, haven't we? We've got to say. A lot of repair work. There we are, squidge it all out. It's fine. There's only, looking ahead, there's one or two other ones which look a little bit the worse for wear. But on the whole, they don't look too bad. There we are. I think we're just going to have to leave it at that. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. A bit of a tatty old book, but better than not having a copy at all. Right. Now, this one, 501. Once again, it's already been cleaned, this one. It's in a dust wrapper. I don't feel the need to actually take this one out. I haven't got another one to compare it to. So we're just going to leave that one 501. Quite a nice copy of that particular one. 502, once again, I've just got the one copy of it. It's already been cleaned. And these, I'm sure, only had the one printing. So we'll just leave that one as is for Sally Lunn, which was 502. Now, 503 is a new one to me. And it says The Story of Nurse Edith Cavil. And this is a film tie-in. Look at that. 1940. Rear cover, H. Samuel. Yes, absolutely right. Well, this must have been... Yeah, I don't recognise the film. I don't recognise the actors from that golden age. It's undated. But it says in my guidebook here, January 1940. That's a real relic. As a lot of these books are, aren't they? They are absolute relics of their time. But still very cool. To a book collector such as me, and that's not a bad copy of that one. I'm quite pleased with that one. So yeah, 503, clearly marked 503 on the spine as well. Then 504, The Lion Has Wings, the epic of the famous Court of Films. There's another movie tie-in, although it doesn't say so. Adapted from the film. It doesn't say so in my guide, but there we are. That's obviously a wartime one. Pretty cool, isn't it? Coming away a little bit down the bottom of the spine. Yeah, apart from that, it's all right, that. But yeah, just a little bit of detachment down the bottom here. I shall squeeze in my glue. To be honest, that's probably enough. It doesn't take a lot sometimes. I can feel that squidging along the spine, which is good. Yeah, really nice jacket on that, isn't it? That is very, very cool indeed, that. Yeah. Got a slight spine roll, this copy, but other than that, it's all right. Yeah, so we just got one more box of Collins White Circle to do once we've done this lot, and that's Westerns. It's a whole box of Westerns. And then we're finally done with Collins. We'll be moving on to Guild books, and they look really a real challenge, I think, you know. Right, that was The Lion Has Wings. So this is The Gas War of 1940. Absolutely mental, this, number 505. Wow. Yeah, once again, coming away a little bit at the bottom. Bit of the worse for wear, this one. Sadly, evidently been, oh look at that. Evidently been read a few times. There we are, that's actually going to make it a little bit easier for us. So let's take out this 30p first of all. A few pages. Yeah, they're very brittle. Yeah, a little bit rough, this one. But that's okay. Right, well, we'll just put a layer of glue in. There we are. It's making it a little bit more presentable, isn't it? Not perfect by any means, but it's better than what it was. Yeah, I think that's about as good as we're going to get that. The Gas War of 1940. This one looks a little bit better. I Would Be Private. This is number 506, Rose Macaulay. And this is apparently February 1940. Yeah, this is much better condition. Looks like it's hardly read, or maybe read just the once. A little 10p inside, which we can soon sort that out. Okay. There we are. Yeah, that was quite a nice copy of that one. Then the next one, before I redo the pile, is Later How, Doreen Wallace. This one looks also really quite a tight copy. Yeah, much better than what we've been looking at. This says March 1940. That's exactly what I've got in my guide here. There we are. Right, I now need to check the racks again. Right, so I found out the story with A Yank at Oxford. This is actually part of the mystery series because it's numbered 321. So it actually goes in with the cerise books, even though it's not cerise coloured. This one's got quite a bit of pencil marks inside. It's going to have a 2p, which we're not going to be able to do anything about because it's in pen. But the rest of it, we will, which is the previous owner's name and address. George. We don't need George's details in there, I'm afraid. Of course, I see this title, A Yank at Oxford, and I think of the Laurel and Hardy film, A Chump at Oxford. I'm not sure if you've ever come across that one. It's quite a nice, quite a quaint little Laurel and Hardy film. I think it came out in 1933, and it's notable for one of the very earliest screen appearances of Peter Cushing, who had moved to Hollywood to start a film career. And he's in it as a very, very young man. He's one of the Oxford dons. I guess when they were casting, they were looking for British accented or British speaking people, and Peter Cushing is in it. So he's in lots of scenes. You clearly see him. I don't know if he gets a credit. I can't remember, but it was one of his very earliest appearances. Was in A Chump at Oxford, which is that Laurel and Hardy film. So there you go. Bit of film trivia as well while we clean this book. You get it all on this channel, you get it all. Well, I'm glad to see as we do this. I'm filming this at the very last day of March, and lovely to see the weather is looking so nice outside, and I'm very much glad that winter is finally over and spring is most definitely here. That is what we're hoping. So there we are. So that's that one looking a lot better. I'll just do the edges here, but weirdly, yeah, it has to go. It's number 321, so it has to go volume 321. Now I'm not so sure. I'm going to refer to my book. Let me look at the mystery titles, because this is perplexing me. I don't know if it is now. This is just not right. What is going on? Here we are, 321. So it's under the Romance and John Galsworthy series. So we already did the Galsworthys, didn't we? And there's a lot of those I haven't got because they're romance books. So it actually goes in that list. So forget what I just said about it being a cerise. It actually goes after my Galsworthy run. Well, there we are. See, we're learning as we go here, It's... that's just how we roll, that is just how we roll. Right, back to it. And we are next looking at The Riddle of Helena. So this should be, volume 508. The Riddle of Helena. 509 is missing in my guide here, and I also don't have a copy, so I suspect that was one of those ones which never got released. Now this is a really nice copy of this one. Nice and tight and clean. Very nice indeed. No date in that one. My guide says April 1940 for this book. There we are. Very nice. I'm just going to start a fresh pile over there. Right. So 509, we don't really know what title that was, but this should be 510. The Truth About My Father. There we are. And this is August 1940. This one's quite brittle, page-wise. So it's evidently had some time in the sun to age it, sadly. It says June 1940. And that's interesting because in the guide, it's got a later one, August 1940. So maybe this is an earlier edition, which wasn't previously recorded. Unfortunately, the guide that I've got is 40 years old, and I don't know of any more up-to-date one for the entire Collins series. So we just have to do what we can do. Very, very dusty. God, dear. That was one of those ones I wished I'd done outside, but it's on a Monday. It's also bin day, which is not ideal. I have had to cut the feed a couple of times. Right, we'll do this one, then I'm going to do a little reset. So we got Pinocchio, the story on which Walt Disney based his famous successor to Snow White. Okay, so this is number 511. Let's turn over my guide here. So it says this was published in April 1940. Okay. That's got a few illustrations in, I guess because it was a children's book. Charles Collodi. Okay, I'll take out that little 10p. First of all, like so, and then it does also need the bottom of the spine regluing. Look at that. Come on. There we are. That's good. There's a tiny little fleck, which we might be able to put back in place. And there we are. I think that's about as good as we're going to get that. Big fan of the Walt Disney movie. It's one of the good ones. They did have a good period, didn't they, in the 1940s? There we are. Now I do have another one. And this one I think is, yeah, it's got a better spine. But look at that. Oh dear. Oh no. It's been taped. Ugh. Look at it. On first impression, that looked not bad. Look at the bits. This the glue. It's just disintegrated after the 80 odd years that it's been around. 84 years or something. 85 years old now. The glue is just coming off in my hands. Dear oh dear. Ugh. Okay. Pretty grim. Yes, pretty grim work this today. Right. Let's get some glue in here. Definitely worth saving though because of the title, and it is rare, I believe. I've never seen one before, and now I've got two, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Yeah, on first look, this one looked like a better copy than the other one, but unfortunately it was not to be. So yeah, so that will be the one I keep. And this one, sadly, although it had a better spine, was the worst book. Worst overall condition. So that can go in my spares pile over there. Right, the next one I've also got two copies of, Gulliver's Travels. And this is my original one, which is looking a little bit the worse for wear compared to the the new one I've got. So I suspect I might be doing a swap here, but we'll have a look. So this is my original one. And this is the new copy. Which is definitely better. Yeah, so this is going to be the one I'm going to keep. Take that 20p out and give the top edges a brush. There we go. And I'll slip that one back in a bag. And that one I do have a spare of now, which is always cool. Excellent. Right, so the last sort of just over half a dozen to go now. This is number 513, The Rising Tide. MJ Farrell. So again, a little bit detached. So we get some blue in here. So looking ahead to next week, we're going to go back and do the next 100 Penguin main series that I've got to do. I've got 300 left. So I think it's 700 to 800, 800 to 900, and 2,900 to 3,000. So that's going to be coming up next week. It's been a while. What it will mean is once I've done those 300 that we've just gone through, I will then have an accurate list of all the penguins from 1 to 3,000 that I'm actually missing in first printing, which will be really, really good to have. And hopefully I'll be able to start zeroing in on some of the ones I'm missing online. I mean, I've done a bit of it already, but not too much. I've sort of been a little bit penguined out, which I'm sure you'll understand, let's be honest. Last year was just an incredible year for vintage penguin and paperbacks in general. I've just done so well with a couple of really good hits. Can you hear that? That was the dreaded biker. I keep meaning to be out in the garden one day when he drives by so I can sniper him. His days are numbered, I'm telling you that now. His days are numbered. I'm going to find out where he lives, you know. I'm going to go and sabotage his bike. Every time I do a cleaning video, he seems to come round. Any day of the week, any time. Honestly. I'm going to get him. Right, that was the Rising Tide. My Rising Anger, that's what it should have been. The Gawk Storm, what on earth is that? Nancy Morrison, 514. February 1941. The actual thickness of this book is a little bit thinner, and it may be down to the start of maybe a little bit of wartime restrictions with regards paper and paper rationing. Possibly. Yeah, I'm not going to re-glue that one. It says it's January 1941. Oh, very dusty on the top here. You can see why these needed to be dusted and brushed individually. If I'd have done them in bulk, I'd be in a cloud of dust. My actual brush is grim. Right. little bit of glue required in the base there. Squidge it out. But we don't mind because, as we've said many times, this glue is excellent for drying clear once it's dried, so we don't mind at all. There we are. Right, lovely stuff. I just can't believe the mess in the studio here. It's been a grim old afternoon filming this lot. Right. Pink Knees Garden. Neil Bell. This one's a slightly better condition one. I think these are genuinely quite scarce, you know, in the world of paperbacks. I don't think many people have been saving them. So consequently, the copies that are out there are pretty much just survivors. Lone survivors in some cases, I think. Not generally widely available. That is my suspicion. You come across people who collect Collins Crime, of course, but you don't come across people who collect the entire publisher. At least I don't know anyone who has, except Eric, who the collection came from. So we'll reglue that spine again in a minute. Okay. Yeah, not great, but we'll do what we can to keep it in one piece. There we go. I had no idea that these are going to want or require so much work, but I'm glad with the way we've done it today. We've done all right. Right, that's 6 to go. The Faithful Compass, Doreen Wallace. This one, quite a nice copy here. Why can't they all be like that, eh? Why oh why? 516, a fourth print from March 1941. The Faithful Compass. Nutmeg Tree. 517. Look at it, you can just see it crumble in front of your hands. Oh, we can reglue it. We have the technology, as they say. Yeah, probably has quite a nice copy of that one. Not too thick a book, so I'm not going to go crazy with the glue. Just enough to get it back in. Now, I can't remember if we did the top edges of this one. I cannot remember. Yeah, I think we probably did, because it hasn't come off in plumes. We definitely haven't done this one now. That wasn't too bad, that particular one. Marjorie Sharp, I do recognise the name. Right. John Brophy, The Ridiculous Hat. It is quite literally ridiculous. So there was a missing number there, and it's missing in my collection and missing in the bibliography. But then this one should be a 5th from June 1941, possibly. Yeah, 5th June 1941. Really nice tight copy of that one, isn't it? Let's say there isn't a mark on it, it's just a little 15p in the middle here at the start. There we are. Absolute beauty, that one. That's good. Yeah, so as we come to near the end, we've only got a handful to go now. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's been an interesting video, that's for certain. 520 Film Lady, and this is January 1942. Obviously, don't forget, if you have enjoyed it, please give it the thumbs up. Volume 359. It's completely, but there it says volume 520. It's completely wrong. It is 520, and it is in the right series, but yeah, dear, oh dear. So what was I saying? Yeah, so if you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it the thumbs up. It's been an interesting one, that's for certain. Some unusual books, stuff that you just are not going to see anywhere else. 521 Death Rocks the Cradle, March 1942. Do leave a comment if you're so inclined. Give me some ideas how to get that biker. The dreaded biker. His day will come, you know. His day will come. He'll rue the day that he interfered with a cleaning video, won't he? He will rue that day. It's, if only I'd known. Well, he had his chance, didn't he? Okay, and then the last one, which was the last one in this series, apparently, number 522, Hudson Joins the Herd, Claude Houghton. And look at this. All fine except another bit of gluing required, so we've had to use the glue quite a bit this week, but that's okay. But I'm glad we got it all sorted. I've got a pile of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spares out of this, which was good. So I'm pleased that I've sorted the doubles out, because I am going to offer all my Collins white circles in my next sales video. My spares, at least. The only thing I haven't done, and as I said, we're going to do that maybe in a couple of weeks' time, is the Collins White Circle Westerns. So we're going to be putting on our Stetsons and herding the cattle with the Western series, which are bright yellow. And I think we've got them pretty much back to number 1, but we haven't got them all, I don't think. There's a few missing, but what we've got, I think, is pretty nice. So they should be quite cool to do those. And you don't see Westerns very often, so I've hardly got any in my collection. So they will be quite an interesting one. Anyway, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you again in 7 days. Bye.